Bundle up, everybody, because we are going all the way down to Antarctica for this deep dive.
Ooh, that's a good one. You always have the best intros.
Well, we're heading to the coldest and the driest and windiest continent on Earth.
I wonder if it's windier than Mount Washington.
I don't know. Maybe. It's a place full of mystery, though. It's a place that sparks the imagination.
For sure.
And it's inspired countless tales of, hidden wonders and ancient civilizations and even alien encounters.
Oh, yeah.
So we are taking a closer look at a YouTube video from the History Channel.
Oh, I've seen those.
Yeah. And this one delves into some pretty shocking claims about what might be lurking beneath all that ice.
Ooh, exciting.
Now the video leans into the ancient astronaut theory.
A classic.
So we're going to be putting on our critical thinking caps and sifting through the evidence presented.
Okay.
What can we learn from the stories and the images that are presented? And what is it about Antarctica that makes it such fertile ground for these kinds of theories?
Yeah. I think what's so fascinating about Antarctica is that it's one of the last truly unexplored frontiers on our planet.
Yeah.
I mean, we're talking about a continent almost twice the size of Australia, just buried under miles of ice.
Yeah. It's crazy. It's huge.
It's no wonder it's become a magnet for speculation and intrigue.
Exactly. It's like this giant blank canvas just begging for us to fill it in with our wildest theories.
Totally.
Speaking of wild theories, let's start with one of the most enduring mysteries in Antarctic lore.
Okay.
The tale of Admiral Richard Byrd and Operation High Jump. Now, Byrd was already a legend in his own time. I mean, he was the first to fly over both the North and South Poles.
Wow.
He was a decorated war hero.
Impressive.
So the guy had serious credibility. In 1946, he led this massive expedition to Antarctica. Officially, it was to map the region and scout for potential resources.
Right.
But the story takes a really bizarre turn after his death when a secret diary allegedly surfaces.
This is where things get really interesting. The diary was supposedly discovered by Byrd's son and contains these incredible claims about Byrd encountering a hidden, lush world inside the Earth during Operation High Jump.
Hold on, so you're telling me there's a whole world inside our planet?
That's what the diary claims.
Ah.
He describes flying into this polar opening and finding this warm, fertile land with a shimmering city made of crystal.
What?
He even claims he was taken aboard a flying disc and met with these advanced beings who warned him about humanity's use of nuclear weapons.
Okay, so a hidden world inside the Earth. That sounds like something straight out of a Jules Verne novel.
Right.
Before we get too carried away, I have to ask, how common are these suppressed diary narratives, especially when it comes to conspiracy theories?
Claims of hidden diaries and secret knowledge are surprisingly common throughout history.
Really?
Yeah, they often tap into our desire for hidden truths and forbidden knowledge, this idea that there's something being kept from us.
Right. It's like we love the idea of secrets.
Exactly.
What does science actually say about the possibility of a hollow Earth, though?
Well, hollow Earth theory has been around for centuries,
Yeah.
but it simply doesn't hold up to scientific scrutiny.
Uh-oh.
The structure of our planet, the way seismic waves travel through it, the laws of gravity, none of it supports the idea of a habitable inner world.
Right. I mean, you're talking about squeezing a whole other world inside the Earth.
Exactly. The pressure alone would be unimaginable, not to mention the lack of sunlight and other essential elements for life.
Okay, so science puts a big damper on the hollow Earth theory, but Byrd's story is still undeniably captivating. What do you think it is about this narrative, even if we take the diary with a grain of salt, that makes it so compelling to people?
Well, I think it's the blend of real historical figures and fantastical elements.
Yeah.
Byrd himself was a genuine pioneer, a respected figure.
Yeah.
So weaving this extraordinary tale into his biography adds a layer of plausibility.
That makes sense.
It's like taking someone we know and trust and placing them at the center of this mind-blowing event. It also plays into anxieties about nuclear weapons, which were very real in the post-World War II era.
Oh, of course.
Remember, this was just a year after the bombings of Hiroshima and Nagasaki.
Yeah, that's a great point. That fear of our own destructive power is definitely a recurring theme even today.
For sure.
So we have this captivating story about a potential hidden world and advanced beings, and then the video introduces us to another intriguing account, a whistleblower known as Spartan 1. He claims to be a retired Navy SEAL who in 2003 allegedly entered a hidden octagonal structure beneath the Antarctic ice.
Wow.
What's striking about his account is the level of detail he provides.
Oh, really? Like what?
Well, he describes these massive 18 to 30 foot thick doors that open effortlessly with a touch.
Well, no way.
Constant 72-degree temperature inside despite the freezing exterior.
How is that even possible?
I know, right? Lime green lighting from an unknown source.
Oh, that's creepy.
And walls covered in unfamiliar hieroglyphics.
Okay, but those are some seriously vivid details. It's like something straight out of an Indiana Jones movie.
I know, right?
But before we jump to conclusions, how much weight should we give to these kinds of highly detailed narratives?
Yeah.
Especially when they involve classified information or experiences that are difficult to verify.
Right. That's the key question, isn't it? What makes a whistleblower credible? It's easy to get swept up in the excitement of a good story.
Totally.
But it's important to remember that vivid details don't necessarily equate to truth.
Right.
We have to consider the source, their motivations, the possibility of embellishment or outright fabrication.
It's like a detective investigating a case.
Yeah.
You can't just take witness testimony at face value.
Right.
You have to cross-examine the evidence, look for inconsistencies, and consider alternative explanations.
And this brings us to a broader theme that runs through many Antarctic conspiracy theories, the idea of hidden structures and bases.
Right. That thread can be traced all the way back to Operation High Jump. The suggestion that governments might be hiding something significant in Antarctica has fueled speculation for decades.
So we've got hidden world secret bases, and now let's add another layer to this Antarctic mystery, the idea of a lost civilization buried beneath the ice.
Oh, yeah.
Now, the video connects this to the story of Noah's flood, which appears in various cultures and ancient texts.
Okay.
And it goes on to suggest that the remnants of Plato's Atlantis might be found in Antarctica. It paints a picture of Atlantis as this technologically advanced pre-flood civilization that was suddenly submerged by a catastrophic event.
Wait a minute. Atlantis in Antarctica.
I know, right. And to make things even more dramatic, they propose that a pole shift might have been responsible for moving Atlantis to its current icy grave.
A pole shift. That's a pretty bold claim.
I know. Is that even scientifically plausible? We're talking about a whole continent moving thousands of miles.
You're right to be skeptical. While the idea of a lost civilization buried under the ice is captivating, the geological evidence just doesn't support the idea of a sudden pole shift submerging an entire continent.
Okay.
We know from studying plate tectonics that continents move very gradually over millions of years.
Right.
Antarctica's ice sheet has been forming for a very long time. And while there's evidence of past climate change, the idea of a sudden cataclysmic event that drastically shifted the poles is not supported by mainstream science.
So we have to be careful about jumping to conclusions based on ancient myths and legends.
Right.
But what about more recent evidence? The video shifts gears to focus on some intriguing satellite images of Antarctica.
Okay.
They highlight a 2016 image of what appears to be a man-made entrance carved into an Antarctic mountain. It's a striking image that sparks the imagination. Could it be an entrance to an underground base, as some suggest?
It definitely looks like something out of a sci-fi movie.
And then there's this 2018 image of what some believe to be a crashed UFO on South Georgia Island.
Really?
The image shows this elongated shape with straight skid marks across the ice. And the video even draws a comparison to Oumuamua, that mysterious interstellar object that zipped through our solar system a few years ago.
I remember that.
Remember, there was a ton of debate about whether it was an alien probe. Seeing a similar shape supposedly crashed on Earth really adds fuel to those extraterrestrial theories, doesn't it?
Absolutely. Oumuamua's unusual shape and trajectory led to all sorts of speculation about its origins. So naturally, finding a similar shape seemingly crashed on Earth adds fuel to those fires. But we have to be careful about jumping to conclusions.
Yeah.
How reliable are satellite images as evidence? And could there be alternative explanations for these formations?
That's a really good point. Perspective is everything, right? What might look like a clear-cut entrance or a crashed spacecraft from high above could be something completely different when viewed up close.
Exactly.
It reminds us that we have to be careful about drawing conclusions based on limited information.
For sure.
It's easy to see what we want to see, especially when we're dealing with something as mysterious and unexplored as Antarctica.
Exactly. And while satellite imagery can be a valuable tool for scientific research, it often requires expert interpretation. What might seem obvious to the untrained eye could have a perfectly natural explanation when analyzed by geologists, glaciologists, or other experts familiar with Antarctica's unique environment.
So context is key. We can't just look at an image in isolation and jump to conclusions.
Right.
We have to consider all the possibilities and weigh the evidence carefully. It's a bit like a detective trying to solve a mystery. You have to gather all the clues and examine them from different angles before you can arrive at a solution.
Precisely. And in the case of Antarctica, we're dealing with a vast, remote, and often hostile environment, which makes gathering evidence and verifying claims incredibly challenging.
Right. It's not like you can just hop on a plane and go investigate these sites yourself. The
Exactly.
logistics alone would be a nightmare.
Exactly. And even if you could get there, the extreme conditions and the sheer scale of the continent would make it incredibly difficult to conduct thorough investigations.
So while these satellite images are intriguing, we can't take them as definitive proof of anything.
Right.
It's like that classic saying, absence of evidence is not evidence of absence.
Yeah.
Just because we haven't found conclusive proof of, say, an ancient civilization or an alien base in Antarctica doesn't mean they don't exist. It just means we need more information.
That's a crucial point. And it's important to approach these mysteries with a healthy dose of skepticism, but also an open mind.
Yeah.
We have to acknowledge the limits of our current knowledge and be willing to consider alternative perspectives, even if they seem unconventional.
Right. The pursuit of knowledge should always be driven by curiosity and a willingness to explore new ideas, even if they challenge our existing beliefs.
Absolutely. And while we may never have all the answers, the journey of exploration and discovery is just as valuable as the destination.
I love that. Well, we've covered a lot of ground today, from ancient myths to modern satellite images, and it seems like every clue we uncovered just leads to more questions, which I guess is what makes these mysteries so fascinating.
That's the nature of a good mystery, isn't it? It keeps us engaged, challenges our assumptions, and invites us to think outside the box.
Absolutely. So before we wrap up this part of our deep dive, let's take a step back and consider the bigger picture. We've been exploring a range of intriguing claims about hidden mysteries in Antarctica, from Admiral Byrd's alleged encounters to the possibility of lost civilizations and secret bases. But what does it all mean?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? And it's one that each of you listening will have to answer for yourselves.
Yeah.
But I think what's important is that we engage with these mysteries in a thoughtful and critical way.
Right. It's not about blindly accepting everything we hear or dismissing it outright. It's about weighing the evidence, considering different perspectives, and being willing to ask tough questions. And on that note, we'll take a quick pause before diving into even more Antarctic enigmas.
It's like we're piecing together a giant jigsaw puzzle, but with some of the pieces missing,
Right.
and others that might not even belong.
And just when you think you're starting to see the picture, another intriguing detail pops up and throws everything into question.
Yeah.
Speaking of intriguing details, the video also mentions Admiral Byrd again.
Okay.
This time focusing on his 1947 claim that a new enemy had been discovered, one capable of flying from pole to pole in an instant.
Oh, wow. So they're saying there was some kind of advanced technology back then.
That's what they're implying. And the video even draws a connection between Byrd's statement and a 2018 satellite image that captured a peculiar contrail stretching from pole to pole. They suggest that this contrail could only have been created by something traveling at incredibly high speeds, perhaps even an advanced craft of unknown origin.
Wait, a contrail that spans the entire planet?
Yeah.
That's over 12,000 miles.
Yeah,
Even the fastest aircraft today couldn't do that.
exactly. Are we
Yeah.
talking about some kind of hypersonic jet? Or something even more out there?
The video points out that the maximum length of time a typical contrail can maintain its shape is around 30 minutes.
Oh,
To leave a trail that stretches the entire length of the Earth without dissipating would require speeds far beyond anything we currently have.
so what are we supposed to make of this? Is it possible that Byrd actually encountered some kind of advanced technology back in 1947, and that this 2018 contrail is evidence of something similar? Could there be a connection?
It's certainly a tantalizing possibility, but as with all these claims, we have to approach it with a critical eye.
Yeah, of course.
Is it possible that there's a more conventional explanation for this contrail?
Right.
Could it be a natural phenomenon, a glitch in the satellite imagery, or perhaps even a hoax? We have to consider all the angles.
Okay, let's play devil's advocate for a second. Let's say this contrail isn't a hoax or a glitch. What could possibly create a contrail that long? Do we know of any natural phenomena that could do that?
That's a great question. Off the top of my head, I can't think of any natural phenomena that could produce a continuous contrail spanning the entire globe. It would require some pretty extraordinary conditions, an immense amount of energy.
So if we rule out the natural explanations, what's left? Are we really talking about the possibility of some kind of advanced technology, perhaps something beyond our current understanding?
That's where things get really speculative.
Yeah.
While it's tempting to jump to conclusions about extraterrestrial technology or secret government projects, we have to remember that extraordinary claims require extraordinary evidence.
Yeah.
And in this case, the evidence is pretty thin.
Okay.
We have a single satellite image and a statement from Byrd made over 70 years ago.
Yeah.
It's not enough to draw any definitive conclusions.
Right. We can't just connect the dots and assume that because we don't have a good explanation, it must be aliens or some secret technology. But it definitely keeps the mystery alive, doesn't
Yeah,
it?
absolutely. And
Yeah.
that sense of mystery is precisely what makes Antarctica such a fertile ground for speculation and imagination. It's a place where the known meets the unknown, where science and folklore intertwine, and where the boundaries of possibility seem to blur.
It's like a giant Rorschach test for our collective imagination, isn't it? We project our hopes, fears, and fantasies onto this vast, icy landscape.
Exactly. And I think it speaks to a deeper human need, the desire to believe in something bigger than ourselves, something that challenges our current understanding of the world.
Whether it's the possibility of extraterrestrial life, ancient advanced civilizations, or even just the sheer power and beauty of nature, Antarctica offers a glimpse into the realm of the extraordinary.
I agree.
It's a place where the impossible seems just a little bit more plausible.
And it forces us to confront the limitations of our knowledge.
Uh-huh.
We like to think we have a pretty good grasp of how the world works.
Yeah.
But Antarctica reminds us that there are still vast unknowns out there, mysteries that we may never fully unravel.
It's both exciting and a little bit unsettling, isn't it?
Yeah.
Humbling to realize how much we don't know, but it also fuels our curiosity, our desire to explore and discover.
Precisely. And I think that's why these stories about Antarctica resonate so deeply with us. They tap into our sense of wonder, our longing for adventure, and our fascination with the unexplained.
It's that same spirit that drove early explorers to venture into the unknown,
Right.
to push the boundaries of human knowledge and experience. And while we may not all be able to embark on expeditions to Antarctica ourselves, we can still share in that sense of discovery through these stories, through the images and research that are now more accessible than ever before.
Exactly. And I think that's what makes this whole topic so fascinating. It's an invitation to explore, to question, to imagine.
And to remember that the world is full of wonders, both seen and unseen.
Well said. So if we could peel back the ice and see Antarctica in its entirety, what do you think we might find?
That's the question that lingers, isn't it? And I think the answer is more than we can possibly imagine. I mean, just look at how much we've already uncovered and we've barely scratched the surface.
Indeed, Antarctica is a continent of endless possibilities, and the mysteries it holds may continue to captivate us for generations to come.
And on that note, I think it's time to wrap up our deep dive into the mysteries of Antarctica. What a journey it's been.
It really has.
We've explored hidden worlds, crashed UFOs, ancient civilizations, and everything in between.
We've examined the evidence, challenged our assumptions, and delved into the psychology of why these stories capture our imaginations so powerfully.
And I hope you've all enjoyed this deep dive into the unknown. Before we say goodbye, I want to leave you with a final thought.
Please go ahead.
It's amazing to think about everything we've uncovered in just 2 parts of this deep dive.
I know, right? And it feels like we're only getting started.
As we wrap up our look into these Antarctic mysteries, it strikes me that we've only just scratched the surface. We've covered so much ground, from ancient legends to modern satellite images. But I have this feeling that the real treasures of Antarctica are still waiting to be discovered.
I completely agree. And that's what makes it such an exciting place for scientific research. Every expedition, every new discovery just peels back another layer of the mystery. It's like we're reading a captivating book, but we're only on the first few chapters.
What would you say is the most significant discovery made in Antarctica so far? Something that truly changed our understanding of the continent, or even our planet?
That's a tough one. There have been so many incredible findings. But one that stands out to me is the discovery of the Gamburtsev Mountains back in the 1950s.
The Gamburtsev Mountains.
Yeah. These are a massive mountain range, taller than the Alps, completely buried beneath the ice sheet in East Antarctica.
Wait, a whole mountain range hidden under the ice? How did they even find those?
They were discovered using seismic surveys. Basically, scientists set off explosions and then used instruments to measure the vibrations as they traveled through the ice and rock. By analyzing these vibrations, they were able to create a map of the hidden landscape beneath the ice.
That's incredible. It's like having X-ray vision for the Earth. But what makes these mountains so significant?
Well, for one thing, they challenge our understanding of how mountains form. The Gamburtzes are incredibly old, estimated to be over 1 billion years old. But they also show signs of recent uplift, which is unusual for mountains of that age.
So it's like they've been frozen in time for billions of years and then suddenly woke up and started growing again. That's wild.
Exactly. It's a geological puzzle, that scientists are still trying to piece together. But it suggests that there are forces at work beneath the Antarctic ice sheet that we're only just beginning to understand.
It makes you wonder what other secrets are hidden down there, just waiting to be uncovered. We've talked a lot about the mysteries and the unknowns of Antarctica, but I'm also curious about the practical side of things. What kind of research is being done in Antarctica today? What are scientists hoping to learn?
Antarctica is a hub for research across many disciplines. Climate scientists are studying ice cores to understand past climate change and predict future trends.
Yeah.
Biologists are investigating the unique adaptations of Antarctic organisms to extreme environments. Astronomers are taking advantage of the clear, dark skies for astronomical observations. There's even a neutrino observatory buried deep beneath the ice.
A neutrino observatory. I'm not really familiar with neutrinos. What are those
Yeah,
exactly?
neutrinos are these tiny, almost massless particles that are incredibly difficult to detect.
Oh, okay.
They're produced by nuclear reactions in the sun and other stars, and they can travel through vast distances of space unimpeded. By studying neutrinos from deep space, scientists can learn more about the universe and the processes that create these particles.
Wow. So Antarctica is not only a window into our planet's past, but also a gateway to understanding the universe.
It really is. And the research being conducted in Antarctica has global implications. Understanding climate change, the evolution of life, and the fundamental laws of physics, these are all critical to our future.
It makes you realize that Antarctica is more than just a continent at the bottom of the world. It's a vital piece of the puzzle, a place that holds clues to some of the biggest questions we face as a species.
Absolutely. And I think it's important to remember that Antarctica is a shared resource, a place that belongs to all of humanity.
I couldn't agree more. It's a continent that should inspire awe, wonder, and a sense of responsibility for its preservation. And on that note, I think it's time for us to bid farewell to this icy wonderland, at least for now.
Until the next deep dive.
Exactly. Thanks for joining us on this incredible journey. And as always, keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep your sense of wonder alive.